Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq, with daily insight on the Nasdaq-100 index, or the NDX, which is made up of 100 of the largest domestic and international non-financial innovative companies listed on Nasdaq. The NDX has been the barometer for U.S. large cap growth and also one of the best performing indexes over the last decade and a half, not to mention one of the most liquid index ecosystems in the world. Joining us this Monday afternoon for our first segment of 2022, we have Chris Dearborn, Managing Director on Nasdaq's Market Intelligence Desk, for an update on technical levels to watch in the Nasdaq-100. Chris, it's great to see you. Happy New Year. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Happy New Year, Jill. Great to see you as well. It is an exciting start to the year, to say the least. Who would have thought, thinking back on it, that you would see post-COVID back in March, February of 2020, we'd be here, again, testing record highs. And even though we're not there yet today, this index has legs, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're not testing highs again very, very soon.
Yeah, Chris, it's really interesting. I think the Nasdaq-100 index is going to be the barometer or the index to watch for 2022, because we saw some volatility and it kind of petered out a bit in December. And I think really the conversation is going to be growth versus value for this year. So there could be some interesting trading. That said, let's take a look at your first chart for some more near-term levels to watch in the Nasdaq-100.
Right. So remember, a couple of interesting things to note. The index did return 27% last year. And remember, we did have the index reconstitution only 2 weeks ago. So you have a lot of different members within the index that are very true to what you just mentioned, Jill, on those growth versus value transactions. And you're going to see a lot of that added to the index here, especially with some of the larger names coming in, carrying significant market cap, as opposed to some of the companies that were a little bit underperforming that have been removed over the last 2 weeks ago. So if you look at where we are on the chart right now, the old high, again, is 16,764 made in November, right before Thanksgiving. The index is having a very strong day. We opened at 16,395. We're trading at 16,490 now. The high is 16,500. Nice green candle on the day. Look for support in the index tightly at 16,350, then 16,200. The target on this move is 16,610. Generally, we've seen a big de-risking into year end. And I think that's what kind of caught up the index a little bit as the broader market moved ahead. But really, what you're looking at is, as you mentioned, that growth versus value trade. The overall outlook here is very positive for the index. And with a lot of the big macro factors, kind of accommodated into it, that stimulus accommodation for the global economy is kind of in question here. But again, I think markets are positioned, large cap names in the growth space are well positioned to take advantage of that next upcoming move.
And if we look at your final chart here, Chris, what are the constituents that are adding to the Nasdaq-100?
Yep. Well, Tesla, obviously, with the demand coming in over the weekend, they're adding nearly 100 points to the index. Lucid, a new member of the index, also has had strong demand. So remember, now you've got multiple EV companies within the index, a lot of growth power there. And of course, Apple's having a very strong day. So what you're looking at between, and then Amazon and NVIDIA, you're looking at over 200, almost 200 points there between those handful of names. Detractors are really small. Even though the index is skewed to the downside today, you have over 50 names trading in the red versus only 48 in positive today.
All right, Chris, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.